Yes, that's right. We are back again. It is Saturday night. It's 7 p.m. We are Cardboard Odysseys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I am Pat, joined by these wonderful folks down here. Who we got this evening?
Matt.
Bob.
It's a Bob.
And welcome, Time Capsule. I thought Time Capsule was supposed to join with us. I guess we can dig right into it for PoE. I thought that was a thing. Was it Time Capsule you said was considering it?
Yeah, I actually saw he got on earlier. I think last night was the first playthrough. We've been chatting a little bit. We haven't quite broached that subject yet, but I think we're going to be starting up a guild, Bob. Well,
love you too.
Kind of already have.
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw that you added a tab. So let's get into it for the folks that don't really understand what we're talking about right now. So in case you've been living under a rock, this week was the release of Path of Exile 2. Well,
early access.
Actually, last week?
Yeah, it was on the
12/6.
Yeah, the 6th.
Yeah, so it's definitely, right into the strides of the early access. We are just now into the second week of it live, and I think we've already had, what, Matt, 2 updates to it?
Well, they've had multiple hotfixes, but 2 major hotfixes where they've addressed some, some skills that were overperforming. They haven't really done any buffs, but they've done bug fixes. They've done, they've done some stuff. A lot of people are annoyed that they're only nerfing things and not buffing stuff, but the stuff that they're nerfing is so out of line that they kind of need to.
Well, they juiced the drops.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They people are complaining about the loot. So GGG has this this concept that GGG is the
Grinding Gear Games.
Grinding Gear Games is the full. But anyway, so they have this this methodology that they would rather release something underpowered and then buff it than have it overpowered and then nerf it. When able to.
Solid enough. I kind of like that. Slowly
Maybe.
give, never
people just
take.
Need to stop being whiny babies when stuff gets nerfed, and then they can actually release stuff in a decent state. Basically, what happens is that they feel that if it's too good, they can't take it away. But if it's not good enough, they can buff it. I'd rather them just be able to freely do whatever they need to do. The community rages when stuff gets taken away, but they they cheer when it gets buffed. It's you should understand that the thing that they were doing, the interactions that they nerfed, were so crazy that it needed to be nerfed. It was insane how powerful it was. Compared to everything else, it was such a big outlier.
Well, speaking about taking things away, I don't know if you guys have been paying any attention to Magic the Gathering this week. And apparently, WotC has decided to take away a word from us. Does anybody know what that word is?
Yeah,
I do, but
I was absolutely shocked. I've got to say, for all the years that I've been playing Magic, I never thought this was a bad word. It never meant anything to me. I've traveled across many planes, but this word I'd never heard a complaint. And really, it was definitely a surprise. Matt, how did you take the news on this? Were you as startled as I was?
I don't give 2 flips about it, to be honest.
I'm with Matt on this one, actually. It's Rudy's trying to hype the shit out of it. Oh my God, buy your Kaladesh.
They're banned. You can't play any of the cards from Kaladesh. Oh my God.
I was.
Well, no, it's the. I love Time Capsule's response there, by the way. That does. Or value. Value should be another one you could toss in there. But so yeah, they took away Kaladesh. In case you haven't heard that it. I guess they didn't even know it themselves. They hired an outside firm which told them, shame on you. I can't wait for companies just to go, here you go, all you woke leftist people that put us in rankings so that we can get financing. That's what that's for, by the way. I think we discussed that before. That companies get ranked on their woke scale so that they can get financing. It's so garbage. Yeah, it's a thing out there. You can look into it.
I know, some insurance stuff, like corporate insurance. If you haven't had certain types of sensitivity training and stuff within X amount of time for X amount of employees, it's definitely ridiculous nowadays. And I 100% behind you. I I don't speak Punjabi Indian, so I did not know that Kaladesh was a slight racial term, and apparently it is, and that's why we are now straying away from using the term Kaladesh.
It's not that it is; it can be.
Can be, yeah, exactly.
It can be.
Just references the color black.
Right. It's like us. It's like us here in the United States. Literally, like us in the United States. The word black. Right. Can it be used as a slur? Marginally. Sure. What color's your car? It's a dark color because I can't say the word that it actually is because that might offend somebody. Like my phone is the darkest gray. You know, it's darker than the darkest gray. It's a nighttime color. Like, I'm not dancing around that shit just because the word black might offend somebody. I'm not using it in an offensive way. And if you take offense to it, that's kind of your tough shit, not mine. And it's the same thing with Kaladesh. It's not that it is an offensive term. They actually used it as I can't remember what Kala actually means, but it basically is meant to be a new world, right? That's essentially what Kaladesh is supposed to represent, which we see that represented in the artwork and the engine, the energy, and it's supposed to be about technology and innovation and a new world, and somebody wants to take that as a potential slur. Okay, but what does it even matter? So they're never going to go back or never going to have Kaladesh re-engineer. Why would that make the old boxes any more expensive?
That's one of the things that I think they handled it in a very interesting way. Thematically, like the lore repercussions of it. Now it's the world used to be called Kaladesh, and there was a giant uprising, and the powers that used to control the entire plane have been overthrown, and now they're celebrating this new change in like power scheme. Yeah, exactly, Mario. And it is a celebration of the new world that they're creating. What it does not do is those people will still have to reference at a time in their history Kaladesh was a thing. They could have just done a hard retcon, but since they've tried to build it in, there will have to be references to it still in Magic's history. So,
and I think that nobody cares. Look at all the cultural sensitivity cards that they banned. They didn't skyrocket. They're not a many factor fortune more expensive. They're just inconvenient because you can't play them and they're hard to get your hands on.
I did see that the box prices for Kaladesh absolutely just
skyrocketed.
Yeah, which I think is...
You guys don't believe me about the Rudy effect. I'm telling you right now.
No, I'm 100% behind you. You know, he is the top-hatted man with the ringling behind him.
It started spiking prior to him doing it, though. It spiked way further. Like, people are just speculating before... Like, I'm sure he helped, but the moment WotC releases literally any article about something being taboo or something being banned because of something, people immediately go and buy it. Like that's what happens every time. That's what happened with the Prejudice card. Is what happened with
all those banned cards like Crusade. They're not spiking. They're not tremendously expensive.
I'm pretty sure they did when they first did the ban. I'm pretty sure they spiked.
For a minute.
I'm thinking this is going to be the same thing. I'm thinking this is going to be a flash in the pan. It's going to go back down. Maybe not to what it was before.
It really should.
It really should, yeah. Like it makes no sense to me. Like I contemplated for like a half a second because of like the quote unquote FOMO when Rudy was talking about it. I'm like, do I scour the internet and try to get me a Kaladesh box? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I just close the video.
I gotta say, Ash Belmont, thank you for joining us this evening. Haven't seen your name before, so I just want to take a moment and say we appreciate you being here. Says the last downloadable character for Tekken 8 is a Final Fantasy character. Which character for Tekken would blow my sock off? It's got to be King. I mean, honestly, super buff wrestler with a cheetah head, that's an easy win, right?
Chun-Li.
I don't really know.
You can say Yoshimitsu and we'll all still respect you, Matt.
I don't know Final Fantasy characters.
Is Raiden
Ash?
Is that Tekken or is that Mortal Kombat? That's Mortal Kombat.
Well, but he's saying a Final Fantasy character for Tekken 8 downloadable. Which Final Fantasy character is it?
Tifa would be pretty good.
Ash is
big fan of the way Tifa looks and play.
Chocobo, yeah. I think actually a Chocobo would not be a terrible character for it. It would go really good against the giant panda that they have. You know, they do a lot of like animal characters, so yeah, it'd be fine for Tekken 9.
Isn't Cloud the name of one of them?
Yeah, Cloud's the main character.
Strife. He's the dude with the gigantic sword.
Sephiroth would be pretty cool too. Obviously, his reach would be insane because his sword's like 7 feet long.
Who the hell is Emmett? That sounds like a 1950s actor.
If we're talking Final Fantasy, we've got to get Cherry on as a guest. You know,
I'd love to. Tifa.
Everyone wants Tifa. Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone does want Tifa.
Yeah, Tifa's awesome.
Yeah, that's like.
I remember when she first.
Is Tifa the one with the boobas?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they all have boobas, but yeah, she definitely has like the more kind of what is that?
Emmett Selch? That sounds like a bad
Raiders of
indigestion.
What is that character? Tomb Raider?
That sounds like an AI came up with an evil person's name. Emmett Selch.
True.
Well, what's the one that's on the Magic Box? What's the Final Fantasy character on Boobas and Fists? Yeah, baby.
I'm pretty sure it's Sephiroth.
No.
You're talking about the Final Fantasy one? The MTG?
No, the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering box. The one that looks like a weird... I thought it was a girl, and I thought it was... what's her name? Harley Quinn. Looked like Harley Quinn. And he like touches the water and it does rainbow stuff in it, and I think that's
Lightning Army of One. That's what it says under the name for it.
No, there's 3.
I mean, I think this set's going to do incredibly well, and I know
I'm probably actually going to buy some.
But I mean,
I'm probably actually going to buy some for the art.
I'm going to buy all of them. I'm just going to buy every box available.
Matt, I
all
think
in on Final Fantasy.
You're going to buy everything that you can afford.
I'm gonna take my life savings out. I'm just gonna spend it all on Final Fantasy collector boxes. What's funny about that is I actually probably would. I profit. Final Fantasy.
You're gonna take
a way.
You're gonna take a HELOC out on your home and
hell yeah, mortgage out, hell yeah. That sounds like a really good idea.
Mortgage your house to buy some.
Well, I mean, when it's a guaranteed win, it's hard not to, right, Bob?
True,
I mean,
yeah.
You know, that's why you buy the whole roll of lottery tickets. You get the whole thing of scratchers. You're guaranteed profit. I mean,
for those of you that are not familiar with our show and are new here, we're not being serious. This is what satire and facetiousness looks like.
What is not satire is my actual love for PoE 2 at this point.
Amen.
I was absolutely shocked. What are we up to? We're just talking about cash cards and computer games.
I think we're doing like a spinning wheel on topics so far tonight.
Well, I think we've pretty much kicked the Kaladesh camel as much as we can.
I don't really have much else to contribute to the Kaladesh.
What else are you going to say about it?
Yeah,
other than like, don't listen to Rudy.
They renamed it to a Vishkar. Whoop-de-fucking do. Now it's just going to be more annoying. At least I could say Kaladesh. Now I'm going to have to remember. Oh, it's not that. Like, whoop-de-doo. Yeah.
It's. I agree. I guess to sum it all up, the three of us are like, who gives a shit? Like, and don't listen to Rudy. Don't spend your Christmas nickels and dimes wasting it on an overpriced Kaladesh box, because what you'll realize in the end, what's the most expensive card in that set? I think it's
the most expensive card in that set.
I think it's like $10. It's like
so there's
the lands aren't even that expensive anymore. They're like $3 a piece now. I think they reprinted them. The Botanical Sanctum and all those used to be like $10-15, and now they got reprinted.
Inventor's Fair is $12, give or take.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a $10 card. So why would you drop $1,000 on a box just because the outside of the box?
Reservoir, which is literally in pre-cons now.
Well, hold on, there's 700 now. That's a deal.
That's a great way to speculate on the market, and I can't wait to let you live in your car in my parking lot.
I wonder what the loss ratio on that has to be.
Oh,
like 1,000% loss ratio.
That's pretty much every old box, though. You have to get super fucking lucky on the majority of every box opening.
There's no way to get lucky enough in a Kaladesh box.
Like, not like that.
Well, they have the inventions, don't they?
Yeah, which is like 1 every 6 boxes, or like 5.5 or something like that.
And like half of them are worth less than $50.
Yeah, well, if it's $700 a box, and you have to buy 6 of them, you can get right the fuck out of here with your hopes and your dreams. That's not what's happening.
What if you get 6 though? Holy shit, dude! What? Put it all on black.
Oh my god! Yeah, now I have. Now I
do that. That's your retirement plan.
Yeah,
let's get back to PoE because that is actually real and more positive.
Yeah, right.
So just so we're aware here, Matt is our resident Uber gamer. He's the best one here at probably any game that you want to try to play.
Play a lot of it.
And he's been grinding it out. I think 2 different characters. You're playing the warrior and
I was playing a sorceress, but the warrior got to endgame maps. The only reason I was playing a second character at the time was because when a new league comes out for PoE or when a new game comes out, typically my buddy Zach and I, we like play together. And then when he goes offline, I'm typically awake still because of third shift hours and whatnot. I end up playing something else. So I was playing a sorceress as my secondary character. And it was okay. It was definitely better than the warrior in that the warrior has a very like melodic, slow. You feel like you're like constantly wandering through quicksand and to really do anything. At least the sorceress, they can cast while moving, which feels good. But warrior is a very big struggle bus to start, and then it does get better as you get further into the game. But man, you can play one of the there's a guy named Steel Mage. He's playing a Shout Barbarian, which is pretty cool that it exists in PoE. And it literally is just like spamming the shout button. It's like a 1-button build, and it stacks bleeds up on the target, and then it blows up with a 25% chance. It just kind of explodes, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm actually now playing a ranger because I dropped a headhunter, which is a very very rare drop, and I decided that I needed to use it.
So I tried playing the ranger, and what it felt like to me with the ranger and the sorcerers both, it feels like they force you to go WASD on it. Like I tried, and the game was kind of designed for it, so it makes sense. I'm doing just fine on the witch without using WASD.
I don't use WASD on my warrior or my sorcerer.
Yeah, I'm doing the clicky.
But I'm all about the WASD movement for it. I gotta say, having played so much Enshrouded with Time Capsule, shout out to some of our channel members. You get to play with us, so a little bit extra, you get a little bit extra. But Enshrouded, with the WASD and the I use control in that game for the dodge roll, but I think that was great prep for this. I'm surprised that you're still doing the click movement, Bob.
Oh no, I like the click movement.
I was still doing click on my warrior. I never tried WASD until my ranger. Both the warrior were WASD.
The warrior feels like you have to use click movement because if you're just the way you attack and you're always up in everything's business. Like
I don't know. I think now that I've played it on the ranger, maybe I could try it on the warrior and see if it feels any different. It feels good on the ranger, I'll tell you that.
What's that?
WASD movement. I've gotten used to it. It took me a little bit, but I got used to it.
Yeah, that's the thing that threw me off with the ranger. I was like, I don't really like it because if you're not aware, so not only do you have WASD, but if you set that up, then you kind of take away from their defaults, which is QWERT for many of your primary and secondary abilities.
Yeah,
right?
But you use your mouse for left click and right click.
Okay, but what about your others?
You got QER. You got QER.
Right, but so you're using just a W for movement, and so you're commingling your movement with your attacks, and that feels bad.
It did feel that way. Like I felt like I was tripping over my fingers when I was playing. It did feel bad when I wasn't used to it. Once I decided to start using left click for my moves, that's when it started to feel left click and right click. So my main move is left click, right click is the other move, middle click is the other move, and then I
never middle click.
Well, the middle click is on a 12-second cooldown, so like it's very infrequently used.
I programmed the thumb button for that.
Well, so that's what
you can do that as well.
My mouse died after like 7 years, and it just literally crapped the bed, just stopped working. There was no functionality to it. Plugged it into my work laptop, made sure that it didn't function there. It was just deadzo. So I picked up a fancy enough SteelSeries mouse, and it's got these side buttons. I've never used a mouse in my personal life, only in, random places here and there with side buttons. And all the clicks are a lot easier. So I use the middle button all the time. I honestly don't find it that difficult. I get my keyboard at that like weird gamer 45-degree angle. And yeah, using the Q, E, R, T, and F as like extra attack stuff, I don't find that difficult, honestly. I'm just treating it like a very twin stick shootery kind of thing. Staying back far enough, having all my minions as this giant scourge across the battlefield has definitely been surprisingly easy. Like I want to say it's like a difficult game, but I'm just playing it unlike a regular Diablo-esque game. And I've had a very different experience, I think, than a lot of people getting into it. I think Project Zomboid's probably harder at this point.
I didn't like that game. That game
I think I
terrible to play.
downloaded Project Zomboid, but I didn't get into it.
I'm pretty sure that's the zombie game that I felt was like wonky as all fucking hell, and I'm like,
it's good. It's just tough. It's a very system intricate game, similar to like Dwarven Fortress. Everything has a set of mechanics behind it that seem to drive things. I I know a lot of people that say that game sucks. I've said that while like shaking my.
I agree. Project Zomboid is pretty fucking bad. Me and my buddy tried playing it, and it was just like in about 2 to 3 hours. We're like, yeah, this game fucking blows.
I think
it was still early access, so maybe it's gotten better since then. I doubt it, but
it's definitely polished. But I do not think it is going to be your type of game by any stretch, Matt. I think Path of Exile too. I'm glad that you've been having such a good time with it. And then same thing for Bob and I. I honestly was surprised that I took to it as well as I have. And Bob,
I did not take to it well.
I'm glad Bob tried some more stuff and played it.
At first with the Warrior, it's so punishing, right? Like because you have to be right up on the mobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if those that aren't aware, so the way that Warrior works is it's a slam character mainly. Most of the skills that you have to use are called slams. You can use other skills actually. You don't have to use a mace. That's just like the way that the class is kind of like shown to you. But you technically could put a staff on and use monk skills on a Titan. That's just kind of how PoE is. You can do whatever you want. But the way that they instruct you to play the class basically is put on a mace and then you do slam skills. Slams add attack time to every weapon you have. So if you have like a weapon that's like 1.5 attack speed, it'll add like 1.5 seconds to that attack. So you're going to be standing still, doing like a big animation of like 3 seconds, roughly 2 to 3 seconds, depending on which skill you use. And then you're going to slam down and it's going to be like, boom, big explosion. But you're standing still and getting fucking demolished for that 2 to 3 seconds. Yeah. And there's really nothing you can do. You can stack armor, which is what I was doing on my Warrior, but our armor's terrible. It's so bad. It says that I'm mitigating 70% of my damage. It's not. I get hit so hard. Armor's doing nothing. It's crazy how bad it is.
One of the bigger things too is that the thing I like I said to Matt and Pat is, my God, Grinding Gear loves. If any of you are familiar with the term standing and stupid, everything drops a puddle of something that if you're there for a minute is and when I say a minute, I mean like 3 seconds, you're going to die. And like what Matt said, so combine stupid on the floor with a 3 second wind up and you can see it coming. You're like, crap, I'm in the middle of it. I can't stop. And then I'm dead. It was brutal.
You can actually dodge roll out of the attack, but still it you know what's funny about the undeath?
But you have to hit the boss, or it just keeps getting worse and worse.
True. No, I know. I get it. You can't attack sometimes. Sometimes you're just getting constantly
running and dodging.
Like, I can't attack. Yep.
I can't do anything to hit him. So I did not enjoy the game until I switched. So for those of you, if you suck like me, or if you're just brand new to it, I highly recommend the Witch. And there is a great kind of shortish video that is very common sense for the exploding minions build, and it's super strong. You drop
by Gazi or Zizaran.
I don't remember who it's from, but it was really intuitive. Not difficult. It's just a couple of attacks that really are your main thing, and you're not really doing it. So you get the skeletal archers, and they shoot poison clouds onto the ground, and then you just figure out a way to make that poison cloud explode. And it just does insane damage. And you just keep shooting as soon as the arrow shots are available, the poison arrows, that you shoot them into the fire and they keep exploding. And it's really not very difficult at all. And then you just basically manage those cooldowns and keep running away. And the big thing is that your minions are really kind of paper tigers. So they die a lot during boss fights because, like I said, there's a lot of stupid, and minions like to stand in it. And they'll die.
Yeah, the AI right now needs tweaking for the minions. They're really bad.
So there's
a lot.
I really like how they do the skeletal warrior minion though on the like self-reviving timer.
Yeah, that's new to PoE too.
I thought that was a brilliant way to handle like some of your more base characters, and then you having to call in your zombies and some of your other stuff as well. Yeah, Bob, what were some of the?
I don't even do that. It's just all. It's all skeletal archers all the time.
Okay.
Like, I'm telling you, if you watch it and you play, it is so strong. It is so strong.
You know what's funny about that, Bob, is they already nerfed that. That poison cloud interaction that used to do millions of damage. It was so fucking busted. So
it's still strong. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know that they nerfed it a lot. I'm telling you, they nerfed it. The people were like one-shotting bosses with it because like I don't know. GGG has this thing where like they don't think of every possible iteration, which is fine. They don't have the testing to really do that. So what they didn't understand is that people were like triggering the explosion from gas cloud from any ignite, and the thing that ignites the most is flame wall. Flame wall constantly just ignites, so people are throwing down gas clouds and then just throwing a flame wall, and it was constantly like triggering the explosion from the gas arrow, the gas cloud, way more than it used to. So now it triggers it much less, but it's still, from what I understand, is very strong.
It's strong enough for a bad player to understand the concept. Easy to kind of get around.
They do want to rebuff it later on, but they want to change how it functions a little bit. What they would like to do is they want the ignite magnitude, which is just basically the strength of the ignite. So the stronger the ignite, the more damage the gas cloud will do. But they said that it would take more development time to get that kind of squared away versus right now they just wanted to nerf it, the interaction that was like one-shotting bosses, and then they would figure out something else later on. It's kind of
but I mean, it's a relatively simple build to get your head wrapped around, and really you build out to your minions to revive as fast as possible. So you shoot for those nodes to where you're cutting down the respawn timer on your minions by like 75% early on, and so even that part, it kind of takes away the guesswork of which passives to have to worry about figuring out and figure out the synergies. And then you just go for things like, your energy shield, which is a shield that has to wear down first before your health gets affected, and make your minions stronger. It's fairly straightforward with most of it. So.
Yeah, I've been doing kind of like an explosive sort of thing. I definitely lean really hard into the skeletal minion warriors. I've got, I think, like 2 arsonists that kind of chill out in the back, and then just I gotta say, Unearth is still one of the most like powerful witch moves, and you get it right at the beginning of the game, like level 2. At this point, I can have just out of nowhere spawn 10 more little dudes, and they just go out and do work, and then they explode when they're dying. It's a very I like how customized you can make your builds and your characters, how many choices you're presented when you level up, when there's a large mechanical occurrence, when you get like your ascendancies. It feels like a pretty big choice. But then when you're actually going through your skill trees, even on the passive, I was very daunted at first. It was very large. And then I quickly realized I won't cover 80% of it. That there's a small like path that I'm going to be exposed to. 80%? And once I kind of dialed in, some of the choices are easier than I was expecting.
Yeah, so you're only going to use like 1 to 2% of the whole tree.
Well, no, there's 1,500 nodes, and you'll have 125 points if you hit level 99, something like that. 123.
So
we have
10% ish, which
roughly
is
10%.
Fine. I have no issue not being
a lot of the
part of
nodes won't do anything
one.
for you,
Yeah.
so there's really no reason to have them.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Like Warrior is probably on the exact opposite side, something I'll never be able to access.
yeah,
But at the
Warrior's
same time,
bottom left.
yeah, like I don't care about doing 2% more physical damage. Like that, it's fucking
Well,
nothing
it's
for
more than
my.
that,
I don't
yeah.
want to be doing those.
Yep. Yeah, one of the nice things about PoE 2's skill tree is it's actually more intuitive and it's actually more streamlined. PoE 1's good, obviously. I still think PoE 1 right now is the better game, but a lot of the things that you get in PoE 2.
Hot takes. I hope you're making a video on that.
Huh? Making a video on the difference between PoE 1 and 2?
Yeah, why do you think PoE 1 is the better game at this point?
Well, it's kind of easy because it just has more development. It has more time. It has more. I think that PoE 2 will be the better game. I don't know. Jonathan, who's the developer or who's the lead designer of PoE 2, he claims that he just doesn't go back and play PoE 1 anymore at all because it feels too bad. I am curious to know after playing PoE 2 for the next month or two. I'm curious to know if when I go back to PoE 1 for their new league, if I'm gonna feel that same way. I don't know.
All right.
PoE 1 feels super, or PoE 1 feels super polished and clean. It's been a game that's been, I know everything in it, or not everything. I know a lot of things in it. I can, at this point, I don't even make my own builds because it's kind of solved. So you just kind of just play whatever the biggest thing is. In PoE 2, the cool thing is it's not really solved, and you're able to make your own stuff. And like I made my character an earthquake character because Sunder was messing with me. Sunder was consuming my armor breaks, which was really annoying. So then I changed it, and I can just do that. I don't have to look at a guide for PoE 2. It's fairly intuitive. PoE 1 is much more in depth. There's a lot more interaction, but I do think that PoE 2 will become the better game as they release more classes. They've only released half of the classes. There's still 6 more coming. There's still more sanities coming. There's still more skills coming. There's a lot of stuff coming.
So when are they releasing the free to play version?
They said that they want to be out of early access within 6 months to a year. They said no earlier than 6 months, but most likely it's going to be right around the year. And if I had to take a guess, I think they're going to be in early access for well over a year. So
really,
you're going to have to. Oh yeah, because they've had there's so much negative feedback on Reddit, and I know Reddit's not really like the if you look at every YouTube video, there's so many big complaints that need to be adjusted, and that takes development time. So they have to stop what they're doing, adjust whatever they need to do, whatever they need to adjust, because some of the stuff is like if you look at Mr. Llama, if you look at any of the dark microtransactions, Cryptarian, they all have a very common problem with the game. Every map is so insanely big. It's crazy how big they are. Every single zone is massive.
Yeah,
so
I found
they
that
really need to change that.
In all the gameplay I've been watching of other creators and exploring in my own playthroughs, I haven't found any large jumps in mobility, except for I think the most game-changing thing I found was an underpowered pair of shoes that had 15% move speed, and that was
that's
so
great.
noticeable.
Oh yeah, it's crazy how fast you move when you have movement speed. But yeah, you will not get movement skills. You have to. If the only way to do it is have to have weapon swap. Warrior gets a movement skill called Leap Slam. They actually get 2. They have Shield Charge and Leap Slam, which is kind of hilarious. They get 2, and most other classes get 0 because they're so fucking slow. But you really can. You can weapon swap, and you can, you can use another a weapon to Leap Slam in the offhand and have it'll weapon swap for you, do the jump, and then
I wonder if you weapon swap it'll immediately. Wonder if you weapon swap it'll immediately bring back your minions.
No.
I know that there was some issues with weapon swap.
Dude, Bob, if that works, you know how many times I could have. Actually, I don't know if I've died double-digit times yet. I'm doing surprisingly well for some reason as someone who doesn't play a lot of ARPGs, which is my continued shock. But
that's good.
The thing that annoys me is when you die, you lose the damn things for trials. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, people don't like the trials. Are all fucking horseshit. I don't like the trials either. I think the trials are one of the worst things they've added to the game.
I lost the trials twice, but I never died. I just got to the end and like ran out of honor fighting the big rock thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, then I trying it twice got me over leveled, I guess, and then just ran the fucking thing.
Well, the relics that you get, so the way that Sanctum is supposed to work is that you're kind of supposed to fail the first couple times, because it's basically like a roguelike. There's the relics that you gain that give you power. If you get honor
Okay.
resistance on your relics, it becomes so fucking easy.
Yeah,
My
I picked
character
up
right
one that was
now,
like 18 percent maximum honor, and
well, not the
that
max,
must have
no,
been like
honor
the
resistance. So it makes you take less damage from hits, from like less honor
oh,
damage
less
from hits.
honor lost
So
during
my
attack.
character has 75% honor resistance, which is the cap,
Yes.
and you take 75% less honor from hits. It's
Hmm.
it's so noticeable. It's insane.
I'm definitely interested. One of the reasons I like early access games, and it's definitely flip of a coin on which side you get, whether the developer is going to
Oh yeah.
go all Valheim and just stop creating content, or if they're going to be more similar to this, where
Oh,
it hasn't even been a week
GGG doesn't
and
stop.
we've seen multiple large tweaks. I mean, I noticed when I first played the dodge roll how it would push you up against enemies as if they were a barricade. And
Yeah,
now it seems
they've
like your
changed it.
size is smaller or something because
Yep,
you're
they
able
made the
to.
dodge roll window. They made your character kind of zero size, so you'll kind
Zero
of like
pixel.
push, or zero pixel. So you'll
Mm.
kind of push your people around a little bit.
And
It's
it
not they
feels,
don't they
yeah.
still want you to be trapped, but they want it to be easier to get out of
Mm.
things, which they've done a pretty
Between
good job
that
at.
and Bone Cage with like the upgrade for pinning, I I feel really great with where I am in the game right now. And I I definitely have not had that like blind confidence going into a game that is supposed to be so difficult. So I bought Dark Souls and I returned it the same day to GameStop and
Yeah,
they
I don't like
straight
it.
refunded me my money. This is supposed to be like that type of difficulty in a game that I'm not normally good at, which I think is the great combination here of how timidly I play a lot of ARPGs and how that's really paying off playing this game. I know I'm having a
Yeah,
great time.
the game has definitely gotten easier, and if you don't, you can make it a game easier by not playing by not playing Warrior. I didn't know this going in, so like my first character was Warrior. I started playing Warrior.
I followed your advice. That was terrible advice.
I was told from everybody that Warrior would be the easiest class to start with, and I don't think people I just don't think people knew that it would be as bad as it was. It was, I don't know. I think Zizarin started Warrior as well. He hated it. It was pretty bad. It's just one of those things you just don't know with early access. You don't really have the hands-on tools. I stuck with it because like I said, I was leveling with my buddy, and I didn't want to like restart the campaign, especially since it takes so long to go through the campaign. You're looking at like 25 to 50 hours for like an experienced player for the campaign. Now, the
I'm
second run through with Twink Gear, my character's blowing through the campaign.
oh
Like
my
I'm already
god.
level
Well, so
41.
that's something I've been thinking about is like besides the snacks, twinking out characters is like one of the few things I really get a big kick out of. There that like powered up playthrough, it's almost like a cheat code. Oh, absolutely.
It does feel if it's a little annoying going from the warrior to this character. I'm on the ranger. It feels kind of insane how much power I have, but I know that a lot of it's because of Twink Gear. But I think a lot of it right now is this interaction. Right now, I think they're going to nerf this. There's an interaction with it's called lightning rods and orb of storms. So lightning rods, you shoot these like lightning rods that shoot down from your bow, and it like sticks into the ground, and then you put an orb of storms on top of it, and orb of storms will ricochet chain off of all of your lightning rods, and it's just like it's so many explosions consolidated into one that it just like it becomes this like clusterfuck of electricity shocks. I don't even know if like how vertical will handle me streaming the very wide game, but let's see, what does this look like? Yeah, you can't see shit.
Nope.
And it's going to
That's
be like
not
5
it.
FPS. But you can probably just see the electricity. So that's that. And then I just let in an orb of storms and it just shocks the shit out of everybody.
I just have
Yeah,
a
look at the FPS.
gang
Look at them go.
running around. Like double-digit percentage of my town's population I control as undead monsters. Like, I think I have 7 skeletal minion warriors, up to 10 zombies, and up to 10 unearthed summons. So, like, I'm well into the 20s when shit's getting wild.
Yeah,
It's
which is
insane to just have a mob like that run around. I feel like a lieutenant just, okay, go die for the cause.
There's also like command skills you can use, right? To like do.
It's literally just tilde, and you send them. Like, you can just command them to move all over the place, just attack an enemy, and then you have like your archers, the arsonists. You can command them to blow people up.
Yeah, there's like certain like skills that you can use that each minion gives to like manipulate how your character.
How are you getting that much spirit?
Oh, I've got like your weapon, your spirit at this point. Yeah, I just make sure to get, like, when I'm looking at gear, I just got a good wand. It's 30% bonus to spirit. Between that and like pecking out some good gear here and there, I've gotten reasonably lucky with drops, it seems, especially when Bob and I were playing. We conversed a lot about that. Yeah,
guess what's dropping for me now?
All warrior shit.
Warrior gear.
So that's one of the
warrior
things I
want to
do. Like I had mentioned to Bob, I made a guild. It's called Cardboard Odysseys. Go figure. The name was open.
Do you want to make that an open invite for our listeners?
Yeah, exactly.
If you can find us,
channel subscriber. You don't have to be a paying member, but as long as you're a subscriber, open invite anybody that wants to be in a Path of Exile 2 guild. And I think, kind of like Matt said, twinking out characters is so important because of the difficulty in good drops for your character class. Trading and passing around some gear would be a great opportunity and a way to build up some of the community. And since I'm probably going to be playing what is considered an absolutely unhealthy amount of this game, I would like to kind of give back, especially when it comes to gems. As Matt's probably realized, you get to a point where you just don't need them, but that is like gold to somebody who's just a little bit lower. It is a lot of free power to just throw on the ground for a noob. So
gems are something that you don't ever need. I think the gem system honestly is a little basic, and they kind of need to adjust it in some way. The whole gem system is weird to me.
You talking about like the jewels you need? Because I've only gotten 3 to drop so far, and 2 of them are for ranger.
The uncut gems, the ones that you use to like make your skills and your auras. And
so you're not talking about like the jewels.
Not jewels. Yeah, jewels are different. Jewels are too uncommon. You get jewels before you can even use them, which is kind of funny to me.
But I've gotten 2 ranger jewels. I did get a caster jewel at least. I got a sapphire.
I don't think I've ever seen what you're referring to.
It's
when you look in the passage tree,
there's a socket tree. There's a socket you can put a jewel into.
Well, not only can you need to progress through that path, I believe.
No, it could just
be
empty.
Certain?
I'm 100% positive. But yeah, there's just a hole you can put a jewel into. It's just you just lose power if you don't have any to put in it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen these. Interesting.
They're very
It'll
powerful.
just say like emerald, sapphire,
and ruby.
I saw like a sapphire ring. I sold that for
it'll just say
coin.
The first time I saw an emerald drop, I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I looked at it and it said jewel, and I'm like, where the hell do you put that? And then I looked in the past.
Maybe my drops haven't been that lucky. Nah, I'm kidding. They've been fucking gold.
I'm pretty sure a lot of these are going to be
dropping to a higher level.
I think I've got 2 uniques at this point, like those legendary looking thing that you had, Matt. I got one of those as a shield.
I've gotten like 5.
And like all the stuff that we don't use, which is one of the reasons.
There are 3 of them that are warrior and 2 of them that are sorceress. And they're all 3 the same ones. I don't understand that.
It's Bryn.
Huh?
Bryn.
Yeah,
hammers. I had the same thing happen on mine. There's a hammer, a helmet, and I think a chest piece.
I've gotten 2 of the focuses.
It must be like 2 seated drops or something. Because I've had the same thing happen. Where it was in the catacombs. They must always drop there in the catacombs.
And I think the focuses are only for the sorcerers.
You can use them on any class.
Yeah.
Right, but then I lose my skeletons. I lose my skeletal warriors.
You can just put it in the other hand. I have so many skills at this point that one of my wands I carry around, I don't use the skill for it.
Because you put a scepter in the main hand?
I carry the skeleton thing in my right hand and a wand in my left hand.
Right. I'm not sure. And the focus would replace the scepter, which is where my skeleton warriors
just put it in your other hand. I thought about doing like the skeleton wand thing and a shield, but then I was like, I have a really good.
I haven't tried that.
Like wand.
Now you make me want to go upstairs.
Yeah, right. Like, that's what I'm saying. It feels
because
at this point
it instantly recharges the foci instantly recharge your energy shield.
I do pretty good with my. I was very attentive to making that a thing. I had seen Matt. We had some discussions about how he played Path of Exile when we've been doing this channel for a couple of years now. And how the energy shield was like a big thing in that game, and how some people would have like no health but a bajillion energy shield. And I figured that's how I was going to.
Busted.
And that's kind of what I was probably get with my protection racket, was to have a big energy shield, bone wall that's moving around killing shit. I think at this point it's interesting because it's so new how it doesn't feel solved, that my opinion is as viable in a lot of senses as a lot of others people. And
sure,
so hey, what up, Crip? Great to have you here. It's been a while.
Yo.
Yeah, energy shield right now in the end game is pretty stupid. You can get to like 15,000 energy shield, but you can only get to like 3,000 life. It's pretty imbalanced. It really needs to be fixed. Life neither needs to, because so it makes no sense. So in PoE 1, they talked about how, or I'm sorry, in PoE 2, they talked about how they didn't want to do the same thing in PoE 1, where the passive skill tree was like, you got to go get all the life nodes, and like on the skill tree, you're going to get like 150% life in order to feel good. They were like, oh, we're going to have your gear matter for your stats, and so you're going to get all your life from gear. Problem is that they didn't do that for energy shield. They did that for life. There's 2 singular nodes on the entire skill tree that have life on it, and it's like 2-3% nodes. I don't even know why they're there. But then energy shield has it all over the place.
Oh
and they're like crazy. They're like 80% increased energy shield.
And like recharge rate and all the goodies.
Yeah, it makes no sense what they've done. You can tell that like as good as GGG are at making a game, and you can tell the game will be good, you start to question like this was super rushed.
You think so?
Oh yeah, it's been in development for 5 years. And they had already postponed it once because they weren't ready. They had to like throw together the end game and the they already said they threw together the end game and the last the campaign in 3 months before release. And that's why they delayed it, because they're like, well, we were focusing on trying to just get the campaign done. They were originally just going to have the campaign, no end game. So like once you completed the campaign, that was it. And then they're like, no, the game, people aren't going to like the game if there's no end game, because like the majority of players that play PoE, they spend most of their time in the end game. So we need an end game. So they're like, hurry up, rush, get the end game done. And they've gotten it done in a really good spot, but there's holes.
Aren't you doing the same thing that you're doing in PoE 1, map running?
Yes and no. It's map running, but it is completely different. It's more like Last Epoch. If you've ever played Last Epoch, the way you like traverse the epochs, you're actually like.
I really liked how that system worked out. I was glad that I invested enough time in the Last Epoch, which was probably the most modern ARPG that I've played aside from this. And I really liked their endgame system with the way you were able to add in modifiers and like randomly generate maps.
It's slightly better. I would say that PoE did it in a better way, obviously, because they basically took what they almost carbon copied what Last Epoch did, and then like added their own twists to it, which I don't love, because in maps, if you die one single time in the map, you lose it all. You lose the whole map.
That's what I've been hearing.
That feels really bad, especially since like your whole goal is to like progress through the maps, the tiers that you drop. They're called waystones in PoE 2.
In PoE 1, when you do the maps, you have like
you have 6 portals.
Yeah, there's multiple portals that you have into it. I like that. So having limited numbers of of attempts, and even if they cut it in half and gave you like 3 attempts,
yeah, one is
something.
rough. I don't die that often on my warrior, but like there have been a couple times where like I'll put in a new map, I'll die within like the first couple of packs of monsters because my character is just that's just the way it works sometimes. And then I'm like, well, I literally just got into the map, it's gone. And like it feels so fucking bad. And it's not for lack of trying of getting defenses. Half of my skill tree on my warrior is defenses. I'm stacking armor like a motherfucker. I'm the Titan class, which is like designed to be tanky, and yet for some reason I feel like a paper bag. It's crazy how like these energy shield builds can have like 15,000 energy shield, but I can only have 2.3 thousand life, and like armor means nothing. But yeah, the balancing at the end game is very the Blood Witch, from what I hear, is very you just can't, like, the very first ascendancy is a nerf to your character, which is hilarious.
What do you mean?
I debated a little while. It seems like there are some really good nodes for Blood Witch.
Well, but you just don't ascend. The very first node that you go through adds life cost to your skills with no benefit. So basically what people are doing is they're ascending, they're getting the first skill point, the first of the two. They're not getting the big node that adds life cost to your skills, and then they're waiting until they get their second ascension to pick up the other two. It feels there's something wrong with that. That's not right. Like the way that it is right now is like your character is weaker when you ascend, which is hilarious on a Blood Witch. So yeah, I don't know. They'll fix it. I'm not worried about it too much. Like I said, they rushed it. It is what it is. I do think
well, and it's early access. Let's be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Early access is a state of the game that's basically a pay-to-play beta. In all honesty,
sure.
And in most games you're paying anyways, and it wasn't like ridiculously above
30
for the entry level. $30 just to get in. That's perfectly acceptable. The state of the game actually is pretty good. I've only crashed twice.
Yeah, it's pretty. I crashed when we were first playing, and they've been fixing a lot of the bugs that crashed. There was the one time where I was literally crashing.
I was transferring some coin to the guild account, and the game just turned off. There was no crash screen or anything. It was just like F4.
That's how PoE crashes.
It's just it's funny. It's done it to me both times on boss fights. Oh. Not like the act boss, but just like boss fights.
A random boss. At least when you just log back in, you're just straight up at where you were. That's a new thing at PoE 2 as well. It kind of
I don't know if I died or what, but as soon as I logged back in, it was like, surprise, you're still at the boss. He's still angry. I was like, oh, shit.
They try to return you exactly where you were when you logged off.
Well, I didn't log off. I was forced off.
Well, or game turned
but
off.
No, I think it's in a good state. I think all three of us would give it a thumbs up. I will say this: it is tough. It's not it felt impossible with the warrior. If you suck, do not play the warrior. At least not till you get some serious
if you got some twink level in gear, it'd probably be really good.
Right, but just going in bare bones, learning the game, just what an awful experience that was. It was okay for the first 10, 12 levels, but when I got to the Act 1 boss, I was like, oh, no, get out of here.
What's funny about slams is they actually do feel really good when you get the slam off without dying. If they would just cut the slam times in half, I think it would be pretty good.
And there's no reason not to.
3-second slams is insane. When either that or you have to slow the monsters down. And one of the things they did about PoE 1 versus PoE 2, they specifically said in PoE 1 the reason why they have a bunch of you remember you were saying stand and stupid stuff. They were saying they have all of that because in PoE 1 you're so fast that you're able to they have to have on death effects and stand and stupid effects in order to kill your character, else you just don't have any challenge. They said that in PoE 2 this wouldn't happen, and they did the exact same thing. It is carbon copy. There's on death effects all over the place. Corpses exploding all the time.
Speaking of other things that they promised they would improve upon, and I think it's only slightly better because I played a terrible class in PoE 1 for visual clarity of the battlefield with all my turrets with all the flowers and shit that just bloom all over the screen. So that was a really bad one on PoE 1. But even I like the fact that you don't have the loot spam that you have on PoE1. That's nice.
If there is no
but
loot,
also
you don't need
they
filter.
only slightly, in my opinion, improved on visual clarity, especially when it comes to mobs. I can't really tell what's my army and what's actual enemies.
Yeah, they did a thing in PoE1 where they like when you saw a rare, it would have like a yellow outline to it. You would know it's a rare. In PoE2, it's like impossible to tell when something's a rare and when it's not. You have to like hover over it and specifically know. Like they'll fix it. Again, they'll fix everything that we have a complaint about, I'm sure.
I would love to see either life bars above my minions or above the enemies.
You can turn that on. That's already an option.
That's in just menu settings.
Above enemies?
Yeah.
Yep. If you don't have that on, you go to options and you go to I think it's
I'm definitely turning that shit on.
Yeah, I have mine over all my enemies. I don't do allies, but I guess I could.
Yeah, there's it's called show minion life bar above you, show mini life bar above NPCs, allies and enemies. Yeah, there's like a little drop down.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
And I need to change my pointer. Like add some.
Yeah, you can change the color of your pointer so it makes it easier to see. I got like
sometimes I'm standing there and I'm like, why am I dying? Oh shit, there's an enemy attacking me. Why are my guys not beating his face up? Right. It's like, oh shit.
That's one of the interesting things, having played so many different video games at this point, that like being able to change your pointer. It's like, I think one other game, Terraria, like really just lets you do that, and how beneficial that is. I mean, like Bob was saying, battlefield clarity is definitely an issue. And when I've got a horde of 26 people running around, it's like, who's the bad guy? Mousing over stuff. That's trying to find my mouse has probably been a benefit to being able to find when there are rare monsters, because I'm just like, okay, where's my mouse? Oh shit, bad guy, go get him.
Yep.
You mean your pointer on the screen?
Yeah.
Like I was about to say, your mouse should probably be on the right side of your keyboard.
If you lost your mouse, I don't know what you're doing with the other hand.
Yeah.
Although I was
put down the beer
an episode of Nimrods earlier, and I was using my right hand on the left joystick so I could drink coffee. Yeah, still beat it. Yeah, I'm just that good.
What is RPG? Rocket propelled grenade? Is that what?
Yeah.
Or role playing? Okay. Because you said Nimrods, and I'm like, RPG. Is it like a mod or something?
Speaking about RPGs, another RPG, if you look behind me, one of my favorites is D2R. Kind of overshadowed one of my favorite events. Now, on the 6th, they just started Season 9, so things are reset. The latter Season 9 just reset. And this is the icon, or the picture they usually put up for the 22 Nights of Terror, which started yesterday. And yesterday was baller. They gave plus 250% magic find to your characters. Today is plus 100% life totals. So it's a good time to level up characters. But every day, they have something new. Sometimes they are punishing, which I don't understand. So much so that you're like, I'm not playing it.
Trick-or-treating? It's weird.
Kind of, but they roll through a list. Like they'll reduce vendor prices by 50% all day. And so you just go and you gamble. You get just stacks of money and gamble on high-end stuff. I never one of the nights in D2R. One of the days is pretty much take a day off because it's like minus 75% resistances. Like,
yeah, fuck that. Why would they do that? That's just like never log in. What the fuck?
Pretty much. It's like, oh, well, I'll play then fine on
server maintenance day.
Go take a break.
Oh, it's so dead on that day. It's like, why would you put that in there? It's like, don't play.
It's very strange.
Or monsters get 100% extra damage. It's like, no.
That's not super awesome.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
So, but I mean, it's rare.
Like weird choices. I mean, I've got to say, so I watched some video game award stuff, and we can get into that. But was there anything else you wanted to finish up on with D2R? Sorry to move along, Bob.
No, other than like we were talking about, and I was thinking about the whole time we're talking about development. Like I think it's at this point we can say that Diablo 4 if you're not going to say that it's a turd, you can say that at least it's not the rousing success that they wanted it to be.
I don't know. I've heard it's better now, but I haven't played it since before the expansion.
It did not get great reviews from even many of the content creators you mentioned so far, like Darth Micro and Mr. Llama, and I'll be another one, even though I'll be at a much smaller. I think Matt enjoyed it better than me. Pat, did you play it?
I got some tacos, and then I had a weekend of playing it.
And that was that.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't play anymore.
So I'm going to say that Diablo 4 is supposed to be, their flagship, and that's where all their development resources are going. They're not doing anything on Diablo 3. They're not doing anything on Diablo 2, and I don't know why they don't put more into Diablo 2.
Well, clearly that doesn't make them enough money.
So monetize it. If there's a demand, people will pay, right? So you do the same type of monetization for it, even if it's half the price of Diablo 4, but if more people are going there, that's telling you something.
Well, you say that like the game is not successful. The player count's freaking insane. They have like, and right now I think it was the last time I looked. It was like a week ago. They had an active member player count of 3.4 million. I mean, that's 4 times the PoE's record numbers. That's pretty good. Although Blizzard is a much larger company. But still, I mean, that's not a failure in my eyes. It's a failure in like what we wanted the game to be. It's a failure in like what it could have been and with the potential that they had the ability to do. But from what I understand, the game is doing good enough. And they're addressing a lot of the concerns that the players have. I just think that they've kind of D3'd it where like the game has become spam, millions of legendaries. There was a cache the dude opened. It took like a minute for the items to come out. A full minute of items just spewing out of the bag. And I'm like, what? And it's just constantly like, like you hit the lottery. It's ridiculous. Like the amount of like drops that you get is insane. And like obviously PoE 1 had that problem where you need a loot filter to see the ground. PoE 2 is starting to have that problem in the end game. If you go watch a streamer called what's his name? Z. It's I don't know why I'm mind blanking. No. Empyrean Gaming. Not a Z at all. So Empyrean Gaming,
that's so close.
He does group play, and right now they're farming what's called Breach. They do magic finding, and they have the problem where if you don't have a good loot filter, which they've had to make themselves because the guy that makes the loot filters isn't going to make it for like, he said anywhere between 3 and 6 weeks, which is fair. It's a lot of work, and he does it for free. Well, he gets Patreon and stuff. But anyways, if you don't have a loot filter with that kind of juice, oh no, he gets good enough money. Like the people
Magic. Cryptic says there that Magic's his game, and we all here, to varying degrees, are still very much Magic
every Thursday
players, as you can see behind Matt, clearly. The gameplay, I'll say, is in a fairly decent state, and the only reason that I hesitate on that is because of power creep, I think, is really beginning to surface in the game, just as it exists. Like we clearly see it in Commander. We see it even in Standard now. They only went away from the power creep for 3 sets with AFR, Crimson Vow, and Midnight Hunt. That was supposedly, I think actually Strixhaven. It starts with Strixhaven, AFR, and maybe Midnight Hunt, because I think the Crimson Vow starts getting back up there in some of the power. Minus the Hook Massacre.
There are good cards in every set.
Sure, we went through that a couple weeks ago, but then they went right back. Kamigawa was just almost bonkers, if you ask me. Not Kamigawa, sorry. I guess Kaldheim was it Kaldheim that came out after that, or was it Kamigawa? Trying to think of the I think Kamigawa or Kaldheim was before it. That was bonkers. But even Kamigawa itself, for a set was really strong comparatively. And we're into like hyperspeed mode, I think, with the standard sets that are coming out. They're just some of the cards are so busted, especially if you start tracking like the lineage. We should do that show sometime where we pull up examples of like what the hype cards were in each set through the generations and seeing the clear progression of power creep.
It'd make a nice little video.
Yeah, power creep is it's required, but they've done it in a way where they're losing the ability to control it, I think. Because like every new set, in order for it to feel good, has to have some level of power creep. That's just kind of every game.
Yeah.
But the way to rein that down is to like typically with bannings, but then like that also feels bad.
Yep.
I don't know.
Especially when it's a physical card.
So the only thing
like
you can do is rotate them out. The problem is they love to build non-rotating formats or formats that are supposed to be somewhat locked in time, like Modern. The farther we go into the future, the more watered down you're making Modern, to where you are having to buy the next new meta, the next new card, because everything can go into Modern, right? It's not locked. It's not locked down to a certain period. And essentially like the Pioneers turning into the new Modern, so to speak. So it's a problem where they just have to create ever evolving formats to where you're changing the meta all the time. And the reason that Modern was supposed to be a thing is so that people didn't want to have to buy the Eternal format stuff, like your dual lands and your power nines and those things. And so they came up with Modern to where, okay, none of those Gaia's Cradles and things are allowed in, no Chrome Moxes, no Sliver Queens or Wheels of Fortune. That's not allowed here. And what you're doing now is creating a new set of super powerful cards that are every bit as powerful as most of those. In the new cards, looking at the One Ring, looking at all these things that they keep banning, the Nadus, and it gets
the One Ring is a problem. I still think it needs to be banned. I'm putting it in every single deck.
Did you see that? You see the prices? Because they're talking about how it's just like we talked about. They maybe have churned through enough inventory on Lord of the Rings. It dropped like half its value.
The One Ring?
Yeah. Because there was talk about it making the ban list.
That would be a hard one to ban. But the further we get away from the release of
any
Lord
card's
of the Rings,
easy to ban.
Yeah.
Why would it be hard?
It fits the description of all their banning criteria. It's a no-brainer that card that can be put in every single deck. It's colorless. It has no downside. Like it feels like if it's a no-brainer to put in every single deck you build,
it'll kill you eventually.
No,
so it does have a downside.
It won't. If you die with the One Ring, it's things have went really wrong.
Well, as we go farther away from the release of the Lord of the Rings product, I think it'll be easier to ban. I always believe that there is a capitalist motivation in Wizards of the Coast to not ban products that they still have inventory to sell of.
Yeah, but it's coming up on 2 years here. In what, May? June? When did that release?
I don't know.
Somewhere around there. So I'll bet you they burned through a good chunk of the inventory, and people will not be talking about buying the boxes. They're probably looking at the rate of sell-through, would be my guess. And as soon as they get to that point, because they've been making, efforts to cut down on inventory, right? So once they burn through it, I don't think they're going to have it available to print again because of the IP. And it'd be easy to ban that and Bowmasters.
Well, you weren't kidding. In the last 3 months, it's dropped 44%, the One Ring.
Yeah.
Hurry, buy the dip. Buy the dip. Hurry up, oh my God, buy the dip.
Right. Oh, I'll have to add that to the cart that has my Kaladesh box in it.
Yeah,
it looks like the Lord of the Rings Special Edition has kind of evened out at about 1,500. I think the highest I saw was 1,800.
So I still
have it.
I still have a case of Lord of the Rings draft boxes sitting on ice for BobCon, whatever in the future when Pat, you make it back into town. But I think that'll be a fun set to like just draft out of, play out of that. But we're not doing 12-pack,
No,
Commander draft. That was terrible. Oh, why not? Because I don't want to take 3 hours to draft.
It only took 3 hours to start playing the game.
No, thank you.
It was fun, but it was definitely too long.
It was interesting. I don't know about fun. It was interesting.
I was seated in the perfect spot to eat all of Bob's killer cheese dip. So I was having a pretty good time.
I was not. I literally had to make people move so my fat ass could get around the table to get more dip, so I only did it the one time. But, yeah, we ate all that up. It didn't go to waste. A 24-hour stream.
Oh, geez.
We could do a 24-hour stream, though I can't promise I would stay awake for 24 hours. But 24 hours of what, though?
So to do what?
Play draft Commander? No.
No, PoE, 24 straight hours. Do
good God. Maybe as like a tag team, you go for 8 hours, I go for 8 hours, Matt goes for 8 hours.
I mean, I've done 24-hour streams for PoE, but it's been a while.
Good for you. I'm never doing one, ever. There's not an amount that you guys could send in chat that could make me stay awake that long. Sorry. Even if I want to, I can't.
I used to do it all the time for PoE because I used to stream it as like a.
I would be willing to if you guys did a big enough donation to give it the attempt and do it live and have the camera here watching me go, as to see how long I could stay awake.
Bob's sleeping in his basement.
Listen to him snore.
Like, I'd give it my best, but
a solid college try.
But I'll be honest with you, at my age, I can't do it, folks. Nope. I don't even think it's healthy.
We're getting old.
Probably not.
But yeah, I mean, we need to do more playthroughs with the audience. So I don't know if Time Capsule's still here. Yeah, if we end this early enough, I'm willing to play a little if y'all want to get on. Get some I'm a spring chicken. I think I'm older than you, Cryptic.
Yeah, I mean, if Time's not on, I would definitely still be down to play some games tonight. I still got half an energy drink, so we can make that shit happen.
I'm sorry, I don't want to pressure you into that, Time Capsule. Did you already have PoE 2, or you said you were doing something else? Oh, I'm almost a decade older than you there,
Shrouded right now.
One thing also to keep in mind is that PoE 2 one has it as well, but there's something called level downscaling. So technically, anybody at any level could play with anybody.
Yeah, I didn't figure out how that worked because I did it with Pat, and I was like, man, these things are kind of tough. I should be cruising through this stuff, but they're actually. But the thing
you can turn it off if you want, but it'll start nerfing the experience gain for the lower player.
But here's the thing: if you play with the lower player, while it might make them harder and more challenging for you, you get no XP for it.
Yeah. You won't get anything.
Yeah, I found
that
turned on
by
it's like 2 levels below you, you pretty much just don't get any more experience. 3 at the most.
Well, we'll talk about this in the after show, Time Capsule. Speaking of which, we're only how far into the stream now?
Hour and 13.
75 minutes.
I think for the holidays around these times, we should probably do like an hour and then do the half hour members only.
Yeah, I think we're kind of stretching the content. The problem isn't so much the time of year. It's just that Magic doesn't have a lot of content. Tonight's been pretty much PoE all the time, a little bit of Diablo.
I don't know. I got this tab about the Video Game Awards pulled up. Like, I've got like another half hour of shit I could do, but I am not saying that
but it's boring. The game that won is trash. Hold on. So crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
hold on a second, though. We have to do this an hour and 15 minutes into the podcast. Hey, if you're here and you haven't already hit that like button, shame. Hit that like button because you obviously like us enough to be here an hour and 15 minutes. Or if not, just please hit it anyways. Just to be nice. It's the holiday season. If you're really feeling nice, subscribe. And if you want extra additional content and you want to be super nice, make Santa's nice list, go ahead and become a channel member. You do get benefits. Time Capsule is one of our longtime members, and I think he's actually one of our most long-term subscribers too.
Probably.
But that just minimum. We're not looking for much. It's more of a filter. It's like $1 a month.
It's literally the cheapest option we could do.
You get additional content. You get videos first, some member-only content.
We do that.
So we do try to provide some value for what you're getting for $1. And we have every weekend on Saturday after the show, in case you're not aware, for those of you that are new, we do at least 30 minutes of unscripted, and not like we script anyways, but it's unfiltered, if you will. We talk about how the show goes, some of the behind-the-scenes work, things we have coming up, sometimes exclusive member content, and we are much more attentive to all right, there. Have a good night, Cryptic. And, we're much more responsive to your questions and conversations in the after show. So consider becoming a member if you haven't. We certainly appreciate it. It tells us that we're on the right path, for providing content for you all. So
it's
there. We did our shill. An hour and 15 minutes in. That's got to do well.
Yeah.
So that'll be starting here in about 13 minutes. We're going to be going to the member-only stream.
Heck yeah, baby. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some Path of Exile 2 recorded content, or do like a live stream kind of action. I think I'm open for tomorrow, so I might make a real push for doing that for a while. But I need to do laundry. I was going to do some today, but because I live in the Great Northeast, my laundry detergent froze my car overnight. So, yeah.
Oh wow!
Impressive.
Oh wow! So, did that really come in? Did not that we get all political and we're definitely not the most up to snuff on current happenings.
I think convicted, guilty, and in prison already. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought
he paid his way out of it. I guess that's what happens when you have more money than God.
You're just trolling us. I got you. I was like, man, I'm so out of it. Last I heard was some dude shot some CEO. That's what I
heard
know
about that. I heard people are like celebrating because
because he got shot
people are
down the street like a dog.
Yeah, I don't think you really should celebrate anybody's death besides like terrorists and like little dictators and that are bad for the. I don't know. I guess there are some to celebrate, but I don't know about a random CEO of a company that he probably.
It wasn't random.
Look, I didn't even celebrate.
Targeted.
I didn't even celebrate Osama bin Laden. A
lot of people celebrated that one.
I did not. I wouldn't celebrate Putin getting put down. It's just, to me, it's like, okay, good. That guy's no longer here doing bad things.
Yeah,
but I don't celebrate it.
Baby oil.
I'm sure he's important to somebody. So it's an unfortunate thing, and it's unfortunate these people do bad things, but I don't celebrate any of that. Life is precious.
Yeah, it feels weird to. Yeah, it feels weird.
I certainly don't do it online.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's not my jam,
bro. Okay, so now Crip. This one's legit though. There are unidentified a bunch of drones flying around New Jersey, and the government has no idea what the fuck's going on, and they're like the big ones, like the size of a car, and people have got no clue what's happening. The government, all the local PD and stuff are like, yeah, we're seeing them, and we got no idea who they are. It's hilarious. The world is falling apart, and I gotta say, it's more entertaining than I thought it would be. 2025 is going to be a great year for me. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, Sherry was talking to me about that. I didn't know it was in Jersey. She was just saying around people are seeing all kinds of drones flying around everywhere. And you know what? I'm not important enough for people to spend money. Oh, hey, Isabel, thanks and welcome back.
They're probably just looking for nuclear waste. Jersey's full of it. Literally just washes up on the shores.
I really don't care if somebody's got a drone, checking up on me. And my apologies if you see me nude. Oof, that's gotta hurt. But
for you.
I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing interesting enough for somebody to to pay somebody else to watch me doing stuff. Warhammer 40K. Ooh, did they make the? They finally make the Warhammer 40K show with Henry Cavill?
Hey,
is that what he's supposed to be doing?
Man, I gotta say, I am a huge lore fan of Warhammer 40K. I've said this from time to time. It is one of the most rich, storied universes I've ever gotten into. It is literally, to me, and I use the word literally because their library is so deep. It is like almost as rich as some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I gotta say, it is on the level of like Forgotten Realms. Warhammer 40K is a phenomenal like just folklore whole. Yeah, it is great. Just put on some videos. There are some incredible content creators about it.
Oh, videos made by fans. Interesting.
Super cool. Yeah, the audience for it, there are a lot of people that just love it so much. And I gotta say, yeah, it's super worthwhile to spend some time in it.
I really read more of the Wheel of Time series. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They have an Amazon series about it. It's so. There was a lot of people don't know. Well, anyways, it's a great series. The author Robert Jordan died before he could finish it up, so it was finished up by a Brandon somebody or other that was on the command zone.
Yeah.
He was the Brandon Johnson or something like that, and he played commander with those guys. But did you say for the Emperor? Oh, is that like a thing in there? Because I thought you were talking maybe about Dune.
Oh, it's the thing.
Okay.
I
like Dune too, but
the
Wheel of Time is a really he did I don't know 15 books or so.
I gotta say, I'm a really big fan of like the 1980s Dune movie. Oh my god, it's like a fever dream.
Have you ever read the books?
No,
they're good. The books are way better. Did you
also enjoy that? What it was Max Fury Road or whatever it was called?
Dude, Mad Max Fury Road is literally one of the best movies I have ever seen.
I feel like it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Honestly,
it is a film. Yeah,
I watched it in theaters when they did I don't know if it was a remake or whatever. There was one in theaters that I watched semi recently. I don't know, 6 years ago or whatever. And I remember watching it. I'm like, if I wasn't with somebody, I actually would leave the theater. It's one of the very few movies I ever liked. It was so bad.
It is near. It is.
Is that the one where he sprays silver spray paint in his face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part was funny.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. The world building is why they want to be painted in chrome because they believe their gods are like V8 supercars, so that if they are shinier, they will be recognized by their god. And
I didn't get that at all from the movie.
They get wicked high off it.
Yeah, I don't know why he sprayed paint in his face.
It's just such a again, storied and lore-driven world, and I like that part about it. Again, really pretty movie. The music was driving, haha, pun intended.
Well, Isabel, that's funny you mentioned that because tomorrow Matt will be hosting or broadcasting. I don't know. Hosting would be right.
Yeah, both.
Another D&D session every Sunday.
We
Cardboard
do
Odysseys
on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:15. We do Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Right now we're doing the Lost Mines of Flapdizzle.
I don't know how to spell it either, Isabel, but I like some of the what is it? What's it called? The Lovecraftian universe. There's a great Pandemic version, a Cthulhu version of Pandemic, which is interesting. It's very playable. There are lots of different Lovecraftian board games out there. As far as like pen and paper, yes, thank you, Time Capsule. There's lots of pen and paper games out there. I know that Sherry, surprisingly, for you guys, she's only dabbled in D&D, but she also did the werewolf one. There's like a werewolf vampire one. I don't know if she's still listening.
Vampire Masquerade?
That might be it.
I know that's one of them.
Yeah, that was
I don't remember.
Vampires and werewolves.
She would have to chime in. But there's also a Star Wars one which I've been itching to play with somebody because it's got its own dice system on it.
Ooh.
And you're checking more to see just like success fail, not like D&D where it's lots of numbers. You got to check charts and all that kind of stuff. It's very quick to see pass fail of attempts for things. So it's supposed to speed up that sort of aspect of the game. Vampire Masquerade and Requiem by White Wolf.
Yeah, Vampire Masquerade.
Hey, what up, Coach? Happy holidays to you too, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you showing up. But we're just about to sign off here for the members only. So let's get through. I don't know what's happening next week. If it's such a dearth of news out there, I'll be honest with you. It's pretty barren out there for updates on most things besides PoE, which is kind of, last week's news already.
It's already stabilized. It's still. I wonder what their player numbers are right now. Steam.
But clearly, we're not going to get a surprise product from WotC this time around. They would have already released
Secret
it by
Lair.
now.
24-hour peak 504,000, all-time peak 507. So pretty strong showing still. That's good.
What's that?
A lot of times the fallout rate for PoE is like much higher than that. The fact that they're still hitting their 500,000 peak is pretty crazy. That's good news.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty popular. I gotta say, it's definitely tickling my fancy.
I'm glad that it's getting popular, and I'm glad that they're, I'm glad that people are enjoying it. I was a little, like, I don't know what the word would be, downed or disappointed that Bob was like not having a good time, and I was gonna offer to like. I didn't think he would enjoy it because he bounced off of PoE 1, but I was gonna offer to like play with him and like try to like show maybe all the information that I have available.
Yeah, little tips and tricks. Yeah.
And he's like, fuck this game. I'm like, all right, well, there's no point in trying.
I was, and playing the Warrior was definitely like just a thumb right in my penis hole. I'm like,
and nope. I felt like salt by it was
like, I'm having a great time. This game's
that's the thing. I was reluctant to share my honest opinion at how good of a time I was having because it was interchanged with Bob being like, I'm not having fun. This isn't what I want out of a game. And luckily, I think me sharing the way I did helped Bob realize that
it did
a different
I was like, let me give, because I tried the Sorceress and the Ranger, but I did not like it. Like, it feels like you must use WASD. Like, I don't know that you can functionally play those two, with...
Yeah, and you play on a laptop keyboard, that would be horrible for WASD, I think.
Well, that's what I do play on a laptop.
Yeah. I would not want to do WASD on laptop.
But...
I've tried playing WoW that way, and it does not feel good. It's just not enough tactile feel for me.
But I didn't enjoy playing those two. And then when you said so I'm like, let me give the minion strategy a shot. And it's been much more comfortable fit. However, that being said, I still do not believe that this is a game for casuals.
They didn't say it was a game for casuals. They wanted to make it more approachable and easier to understand.
Okay, and I'm just saying, for the people who are tuning in, it's definitely not for a casual player.
Yeah, it is a hard game, similar to like the Dark Souls area, where like you have to dodge and roll around, and there are some people that do not like that, and like that, if that's not your thing, then there are ways to kind of like mitigate it or avoid doing that kind of play style. Like minions, you stay far away. Ranger is the same kind of situation where like you're far away. You don't really have to worry about monsters being up in your face because you're like hitting them from a screen away. If they are in your
face, except for the Act 1 boss,
you've got like 90% evasion rating, so like you can't get hit. Like it's you've got the tools. It's harder to do.
Speaking of having the tools, if you want to be a member and get another 30 minutes of content, just go ahead, click those links down below. But unfortunately, we've got an audience awaiting. Anything to close the night with, fellers?
Nope. Hopefully we'll have something to do next week, but it'll probably be a little shorter episode next week, maybe just an hour. So, make sure you're on time. If you show up at the 87-minute mark, you're probably not going to get much content next week.
Awesome. Until then, take care, y'all. Bye now.
Peace.
Do little dance. Give 'em